All right, traders, it is time to prepare you to trade the best setups at the best prices. I am going to be showing you the key make it or break it levels heading into this week. I'm going to show you how to identify at these key levels if the bulls or bears are in control. And then I'm going to be showing you where to get in, where to set your stop loss, where to set your price target, how to also take advantage of the market flipping enough unique trend reversals. Say you're in a trade. This is going to show you how to identify if that trade is going to be a bad idea, and then how to identify if we're going to see a micro flip. Then you can cut your loss or take your small gain if you got a good entry, and then you could flip sides if you want. It's going to show you how to adapt as well. This will show you how to determine the key make it or break it levels and how to determine if it's going to be bullish or bearish, so you can take advantage of that lucrative trading scalping opportunity. So I'm also going to be sharing with you towards the end of this video a swing trading idea. I'm going to show you right now in terms of the swing trade that I'm planning to make, the reaction I'm looking at, the price I'm looking at. I'm going to show you how to confirm if it's safe to enter this swing trade before I enter it, so you don't even need me to make it. And then towards the end of this video, I'm going to be recapping the trades that were made today. The portfolio is up 2.28% on the day. The small account challenge started on Monday. I'm on a 3 green streak ever since it started. Before that, I had 3 green days before that. So technically, I'm on a 6 green streak with the small account and large account in total. With that being said, let's get straight into the video. I'm going to be recapping the trades toward the end of this video. It's going to share with you very lucrative trading information. So first things first, let's discuss the SPY. In terms of the SPY, we discussed the key make it or break it levels. One of the best levels that we talked about for puts, basically in terms of today, because for this to go to 401.44 to fill the gap, that's just not realistic. But in terms of the absolute best level for today, it was right here. It was at $395.78. And this was a key alert that I had given members within the SPY SPX chat. We have a chat dedicated to just the SPY and SPX because this is truly all you need. And then we have a trading floor for the stocks. But right here at 12:15 p.m., I told members that I think the SPY is about to tank. A quick put scalp is a good idea. And then I'd also explain that I think in about 30 minutes, it's going to pull back. It's going to pull back to about 395.40. It ended up pulling back a lot more, but the idea was within the next 30 minutes, it was going to see a nice crash. And if you look at that alert from 12:18 p.m., literally exactly when I posted that idea right here at 12:18 p.m., right here on the up candle when I said that, it literally sold off very hard within 30 minutes. I'm going to show you how I was able to figure that out towards the end of this video, how to determine that it was a bull trap, right here. Basically, the main way that I was able to figure out that it was going to be a little micro bull trap right there is because I'm looking at this chart, right? And this looks overextended. This massive move up right here from 391 all the way to 396, rapid fire with very few. I mean, this went up for 18 minutes straight without a red candle in this crazy move right here. And we had members playing calls right here because I actually bought puts right here when it touched the previous closing price because it was forming wicks and retesting, and it went green to red, which is kind of bearish. And then I sold those puts right here. I sold those puts because it was forming bottom wicks. When it forms wicks like that, it's going to bounce back up to my initial entry. So why not take the profit when I'm up 7% and then wait to see how it reacts again? Because this is now a bullish reaction. When the market flips like that, I exit my scalps. I exited perfectly. It dropped 30, 40 cents for my entry, made a quick 7% return. But one thing I did wrong was I did not adapt. I did not adapt, unfortunately. In terms of adapting in bullish confirmations, your bullish confirmations was right here when it was starting to form wicks. That's when I exited my puts. But you want to see how it reacts at the previous closing price. And you can see it started to break out. It started to break out. And then in terms of bullish confirmations, I'm going to show you 2 bullish confirmations where you can enter calls. You want to enter as close as possible to the previous closing price. Bottom wick right here, it pulls back. The candle tries to go red. Bottom wick shoots up, starts to break out. Bottom wick, bottom wick, bottom wick, breaking out bullish, right? And then another confirmation is right here. It forms higher support at this massive candle right here, which is very, very bullish. These ovals that I drew right here and right here were all confirmations to buy calls. Unfortunately, I didn't play calls, but I did play puts, and I went 4 for 5 on the day. And the small account challenge is up 2.28% on the day, as you can see right here. It's up 2.28% on the day. I started with $3,941 on Monday. It is now at $4,400 basically, and the portfolio is up 11.52%. All green days so far. I traded every single day this week despite being very sick. I am starting to feel better. If I can feel good tomorrow and not wake up feeling terrible, then I think the sickness is going to be coming to an end. So we'll see how I feel tomorrow. But anyways, let's get into this move. So at 12:15 p.m., when I was bearish on puts, right? What made me be bearish on puts here towards this key level? What made me so bearish on the SPY and made me send out that alert to scout puts? What was the reason? Here were the reasons. This is an overreaction from 391 all the way to 396. And then when it's just like rapid fire, I mean, it wasn't too long ago. We're talking just 5 days ago where the SPY was at 371. These are all overreactions. There's gaps to fill below. So like the odds of this hitting 401 today, very, very unlikely in my opinion. It just had such a big move up and it had such a big prior overreaction to the upside as well. Especially just look at this day. It had a massive flip and then it just comes right back up, right? And just looking at the daily, logically speaking, it makes sense with that kind of move up and overreaction to attempt to play puts at 395.78. 395.78, you could see right here, is the make it or break it resistance level with big downside potential, right? So if it reacts as a resistance, SPY's going to start to sell off. If it breaks out and reacts as support, SPY's finally going to shoot up and fill this gap at 40144, which is the best level to day trade puts and one of the best levels to swing trade puts if it has a red day prior to filling this gap right here. That's going to be my swing trade idea that we're going to discuss, right? So that's why I was so bearish on it. And I gave members that idea. That was truly the best trading idea of the day. Now, unfortunately for me, my cash account was already used up. So typically I'm making like, if I'm scalping, if I'm trading that day, I'll make a couple trades. And in this situation, I was taking like 15% position sizes, 20% position sizes. So I had 5 trades. If you're sizing in on average 20% per trade, then that means you're going to run out of trades with your cash account and you're going to have to wait for the funds to settle the next day, right? So unfortunately for me, in terms of the small account challenge, I wasn't able to participate in that trade because I made all my trades in the morning. So one thing that I'm going to change moving forward is no matter what, to make sure that I don't use all of my cash in the morning, because a really good opportunity that's more predictable, that has a higher ROI might come around during the middle of the day or towards the end of the day. And if I don't have any cash for that opportunity with a small account, then that's going to delay the growth on the small account challenge. And then I'll simply just look to take the trade with my larger account, right? So moving forward, I'm going to make sure no matter what goes down in the morning, that I save some cash left for the middle of the day, because I do believe during the middle of the day, it can be more predictable at times and there can be some very lucrative trading opportunities. I mean, look at this. We had a double top at that daily level that I showed you, that 395.70 level. We had a double top, and then this is your most bearish confirmation. I told you guys, when you see dojis at major resistance, look at this. This is major resistance, gravestone doji, this gray candlestick right here. And then what happens? Micro sell-off. And that micro sell-off with a same-day expiration, with a dollar drop like that, staying at the money, you can make a quick 30, 40% return, right? And then right here, the same thing occurred. Retested the highs, retested the best daily level where the highest point SPY can realistically go to for today, right? Retested, forms a doji, and the high of day candle is a doji. And that was at 12:11 p.m. It's sitting towards the highs. It's failing to break out. It retested. It struggled, right? So all of my confirmations right here, this is why I was so bearish. This is how I was able to identify it. I'm looking at the daily chart and I'm saying to myself, okay, overreaction to the upside past couple days plus overreaction including today. That's 2 overreactions. Overreactions past couple days to the upside, overreaction today from 391 to 396. Best resistance level, realistically speaking, SPY's not going to fill the gap at 40144 today. It's just not going to happen, realistically speaking. It's just had such a big move up to the upside. So the best resistance level was right here at 395.78. On this day, it got to a high of 395.78, and it dropped all the way to 389.75, right? That's a great big downside potential key resistance level. So how do you confirm? that it's resistance? How do you confirm that it's a good put to scalp? How was I able to confirm that alert, that analysis that made people money within chat? How was I able to do that? I studied how it reacted. Initial reaction was bearish right here, and then it flipped. How do you know when it flips? This is support. These bottom wicks are support. Look at this. Those bottom wicks are now top wicks. Gravestone doji, most bearish trend reversal candlestick at resistance. It cracks, and the tops of these candles are now at the at the previous support level. See how the lows were here? It cracked. Now it's the tops. Bearish wicks. Sells off again. Great scalping opportunity. You want to see another great scalping opportunity? Right here. It retests these highs, and then it just sits. It sits, it forms the doji. Ever since it forms the doji, it cracks. And then right here, this is your confirmation that things are about to get ugly. This is your support. These are your wicks right here. It cracks. Look at where it's topping out. The highs of these candles are no longer here. They're no longer here. They're literally at the bottom of these wicks, which is bearish. When you see that previous support react as a resistance right here, this is where you start playing these puts, and the bearish confirmation was right here with the doji. That's how you do it, guys. Very simple. Keep it very stupid simple. That information that I just shared with you is money-making information. You see how I combined everything together? I told you guys, overreaction within the past couple of days to the upside. Overreaction to the upside in the morning. The odds of this filling the gap are very unlikely today at 4144. So if you see 390, due to the overreaction, that's why. If you see 395.78 react as a resistance, which it did right here, the initial reaction was bearish because it failed to break out. It cracked support. It turned the support level into a resistance level, started selling off, right? And then you just take some profits as it's falling down. You take some profits once some green candles start forming. That's when you start to take profits at the support. When that first green candle comes in, you start taking profits, right? If you were to play calls here at PCP, you start taking profits on that first red candle. So sometimes you're going to get a big move where there's just no red candles and you're playing calls and it just goes straight up for 10, 20 minutes, a big move. Other times you're going to get a red candle very, very quickly. And then that's where you start taking some size, taking some profits off. It gets more advanced to this. That's a whole nother lesson in terms of like where to set your price target. I wasn't aiming for massively in that particular move, but it does get more advanced in terms of where to set your price targets. You can use trailing stops, but you can see right here, this is another bearish confirmation. This is key support. It cracks the support. A green doji forms. That's a bullish candlestick. It rips back up. Previous support, now resistance. You see this doji. Look at this doji. That's at previous support. It cracked. Previous support, now resistance. The doji forms. The doji forms. See that same doji at the resistance? And then it sells off. Use those dojis. I talk about this all the time. That is your best trend reversal candlestick confirmation. It is the best trend reversal confirmation. SPY's going up. Doji forms. Trend reversal. The trend flips. It goes down. SPY's going up. Doji forms, trend reversal. It starts to sell off, right? Use those confirmations on how I just explained it to you, and you're going to start making some money. In terms of the option contracts, make sure that you are selecting at the money strikes. At the money strikes, I like getting in and out very, very quickly within minutes, 10 minutes, quick 20% here, 10% here, 30, 40% sometimes, and scalping very, very quickly. And now position sizes are like 10 to 20%. That's my style. My style is to trade like a sniper, right? In terms of improvements, I do want to improve a little bit more on identifying when it's time, when it makes sense to hold a little bit longer, to leave some size to ride, right? I do want to get better at identifying those trading opportunities and taking advantage of it. But you have to understand that's two different styles, and commingling two different styles can really mess up a challenge. You have to be super sharp, aware, prepared, and have high conscientiousness to trade two different styles at once. Yeah, that's something I'm planning to do where I have really two nice big winners. So in terms of tomorrow, right? So what's the game plan? I wanted to recap some trades, share with you some informations, man. Got to give a big shout out to the members within Trader Society. Some people had some really big day today. Salty, his account's up over 38%. KG just joined the program, absolutely killing it, man. Played calls, got in at 210, 320, sold at 5, sold at 6 with SPXW. We trade SPY and SPX. Casper, 5% return on his portfolio. Noah, 53% return on your portfolio. Just remember, guys, in terms of these massive returns, that's not my style of trading. You're obviously taking big position sizes to doing that and making better trades to do that. Just understand, if you do it that way, you can lose it just as fast as you made it. I'm in this for the long game. KG, though, really, really killing it, man. In at 114. out at 140 with the puts, trading it both ways, calls and puts. This guy had a crazy day. His portfolio was up over 200%, over a $2,000 profit. That's more than 5 times the cost of Trader Society. IMJ Crook, portfolio 65%, 40% on a AMC puts. You guys are absolutely killing it, man. DJ ended up making 100% return. KG, absolutely killing, man. First day here, played puts twice, played calls, banked every single time. Congratulations. So we had a lot of members do very, very well today. Now let's get into the analysis, right? If you do want to be a part of the Discord server, and if you do want to understand everything that's included in Trader Society, that's going to be the first link down below in the description, where you can also participate in the small account challenge. That's for a limited time only. So let's get into it. So in terms of SPY, what's the game plan for tomorrow, right? What's the deal for tomorrow? So here's what we know. We know SPY has been pushing up, along with a lot of stocks that have had earnings recently. Tesla. People were asking me about the chat room, if you were to play Tesla earnings, how would you play it? I would tell them, if I were to do a YOLO into earnings, I would YOLO some calls. Did I do it? No, because that's not my strategy. But it ended up having a nice little move up. We'll see how it reacts tomorrow, though. But Netflix did the same thing. A lot of these earnings have been pushing with their earnings reports. Now, here's kind of my thesis. For tomorrow, I'm leaning towards bearish. The reasons why I'm bearish for tomorrow is the bulls had their chance to break above 396. They failed multiple times, and it had a very nice drop and almost went green to red again, which is crazy considering how high it went. And if you look, there was so much opportunity to scalp at this PCP, man. Make sure you're trading at this PCP. The previous closing price is always a key maker to break it level. No matter what day it is, it's always a key level. Some days better than others, and that's taught how to identify when you should be really trading it within Trader Society. But you can see right here, this is an overreaction. When this goes from 395 all the way down to 392.27, that's an overreaction when it does it rapid fire like that, right? So odds are it's going to bounce. Excuse me. Odds are it's going to bounce. It's going to bounce towards these wicks, towards these supports, towards these wicks, towards support. These were all opportunities to be scalping calls. But like I said, my cash account ran out of funds. So that just means that I have to size in a little bit less and make sure that I don't use all the cash in the morning. With the cash account, you have more than enough trades to be making, right? You size in 10% of your portfolio per trade, that's 10 trades a day, and that's more than enough. Typically, there's only a couple good opportunities. But if you're scalping rapid fire, man, lately there's been so many opportunities. Opportunity for puts a couple times here, opportunity for calls a couple times here, opportunity for puts. Today, there was over, with my strategy, I would say there was over about 6 to 7 really good opportunities today. I was able to take advantage of 5 of them. But anyways, you gotta understand that as well. So in terms of the SPY, right, this is bearish. I'm leaning towards bearish because it faked out at that key level right here. That's the main reason why we faked out twice today, and it nearly went red after occurring. It is slightly going down during extended hours. It closed at 394.77. Right now it's down $1.01. So it is on track to have a gap down tomorrow. So I personally think we're going to 391. I think we're going to 391 tomorrow. I think we're going to drop to about this 390, 391.50, and then I think we're likely going to have a little micro bounce. This could be a good scalping opportunity for tomorrow, even if it goes lower. We're likely going to have a little micro bounce right here. You see this wick at this pre-market support. It will likely have a micro bounce right around there for calls. So if you see dojis right here, you see support forming, you see a floor forming at 391, that would be the best level for calls if you're interested for a quick scalp with a very tight stop. You do not risk more than 390.50, 390.70 on that scalp, right? And you have to wait for a floor, a bullish confirmation, and then buy the calls into a red candle, not a green candle, right? So that's what I would look for on the call side. I would stay away from 392.27, the previous closing price right here. I would stay away from that if you're interested in calls. I think you're going to need a much better level. This looks pretty micro bearish heading into tomorrow. It's not looking good. It's forming lower highs. It's down after hours. It faked out the best level. Overreaction today. Overreaction on the daily. It's setting up for a nice little micro put scalping opportunity, right? So in terms of puts, if you aren't in right now, the best thing you could really do is to buy a put at the previous closing price. So if this gap's down, best thing you could do is to wait to buy a put at 394.77, scalp a put towards that key major resistance with a max stop loss of like 395.50, right? So 394.77 is going to be your best level for puts tomorrow. In terms of resistance 394.77. Now, if you were to play a key breakdown, what's a level of interest in terms of a key breakdown? I'd say we really would have to wait for the pre-market chart to develop, which is what we're going to be breaking down within Trader Society. A key level of interest, though, would be 394. 394 to 393.70. That'd be a key level. You just got to be aware. We have a lot of support at 392.27. Once that cracks, straight rug pull to 391. So in terms of some analysis that I can share with you right now, when 394 cracks, it will be on track to go to 392.27. That'll be the target. If it reacts to support, it bounces back up to fill the gap at 394.77. If it cracks and reacts as a resistance, it goes to 391, and there's a strong chance that we will have a small micro scalp bounce opportunity, very quick, in and out within like 10, 20 minutes, maybe even less, at 391. If we just go straight to 391, there could be a very nice scalping opportunity. If you see the support, there's a lot of support in the pre-market. There's a lot of support intraday at this level, and it ended up breaking out nicely and turning 392. So I do believe in terms of tomorrow on the call side, 391 is a level of interest for a very quick scalp. Now, if that were to crack, if 391 cracks and turns into resistance, it gets ugly. It gets very, very ugly. And overall, it's going to go to right about here, which is 389. It'll be overall to 389. So in terms of tomorrow, this is what I want you to understand. We're looking micro bearish. It has an overreaction on the daily. It had an overreaction on the intraday chart. It topped out at the key level right here in the pre-market. Like I told you, pre-market highs was going to be a key level to play puts. It ripped to pre-market highs, was a key level to play puts. Also that key level on the daily at 396, right? Faked out, lower highs, tried to go green to red, failed to do it. It is down in after hours. So overall, it looks like we're going to crack 392. If we do crack, we go to 391. 391 is the make it or break it level. If you do have puts, I would lock in a lot of profits at 391. If you leave some on to ride, I would not risk at 392.27. What I want you to understand in terms of tomorrow is if 392.27 to 391 zone reacts to support, bulls are going to take control and they will push this to fill the gap. The gap will be the best level for tomorrow to play puts. If it breaks out and turns into support, it pushes to 396. Don't really see that happening tomorrow. I do think later on into the week, I do think SPY is due for a gap fill, just not tomorrow. I could see the SPY going back to 401.44. As of now, I wouldn't put my money on it. What I would put money on is if it goes to 401.44 for a swing trade, here's the swing trading idea. If it fills the gap and then forms a bearish wick, it goes green to red. Or if it just forms a wick, it forms a top wick. But ideally, you want a red candle. You want a green to red move. Once it fills the gap, then I will swing trade puts. That won't be determined until the end of the day. Once this gap builds, you can enter an intraday scalp for puts, but you don't know if it's going to close red and form the bearish candlestick, the bearish confirmation to swing trade puts. So it's just an intraday scalp if you're playing puts before the market closes. So what I'm saying is, in terms of the swing trade, right before the market closes around like 3:55 p.m., and I do believe you can trade SPY options up until 4:15 p.m. with pretty much every broker. I'm not sure about every broker, but I do believe with most brokers, you can trade up to 4:15 p.m. on SPY options. For those of you who don't know, not on stock options, but on SPY options. So what I'm saying is, if it forms a red candle on the daily at 401.44, it goes green to red, the candlestick looks bearish. You know what a bearish candlestick looks like. Very simple, like this, bearish wick, bearish candle, green to red move. Then I would be willing to swing trade puts. As of now, I'm not willing to do it. I do personally think, though, it is going to drop tomorrow, but we'll see. So that's the overall thesis, right? Now, what I want you to understand is, for those of you wondering, we are likely going to fill this gap within time, likely by the end of the week, if not into next week. When is this gap going to fill, man? When is this 401.44 gap going to fill? When is it going to happen? It is going to happen when 396.26 turns into the floor. When it breaks above, pulls back, forms higher support, trends up, that's when it's going to happen. When it turns into support, when it turns into a floor. Does this look like a floor to you? No, this looks like resistance. Resistance, lower highs. Previous support resistance, sells off. Wick, sells off. It's sitting. This isn't a floor. It's just sitting at resistance. Sells off. Lower highs, bearish, right? These are all bearish reactions. These charts I'm giving you, this is the blueprint. These are the charts. And remember, you see this. So if you got squeezed on puts today, you weren't in chat. In chat, I sold puts right here. I sold puts and then I sat on the sidelines. I'm pissed off I sat on the sidelines because this was a great call-in opportunity that was predictable, but I sat on the sidelines. It happens, man. It happens. But I knew when to get out of my scalp. With that being said, this is the point of the previous closing price. This will save you. If it goes under the previous closing price, like it did right here and reacts as a resistance with the bearish wick, you're going to see a micro scalp. You get in, you get out very, very quickly for a quick scalp. There are ways to identify where it is time to hold. That's a more advanced lesson. And holding doesn't work all the time. And if you do hold, it creates bigger losses. That's what you have to understand. But there is times to hold with some size left and not just take all the profit, right? That's a more advanced lesson. But you can see right here, this is forming bullish wicks. This is forming bullish wicks at 391, right? And we know there's a lot of pre-market support at 391. And we know this was at 395 in the pre-market, right? So do you think it's going to bounce at 391 when it forms this bullish trend reversal candlestick, these pins, these wicks, these candlesticks that changed my life? Yes, it's going to start to bounce. That's when you exit your puts. When it sells off and starts to form these green candles at key heavy support with big upside potential, that's when you exit your puts. Now, in terms of bearish to bullish flip, I entered puts right here. As soon as it touched the previous closing price, I entered puts. As soon as it formed a bottom wick right here, I told myself, that's a bullish reaction. It's forming higher support. It's not going back to 391. It's going to try to bounce. It may top out at the previous closing price again, but I'm already up 7%. So why not just take the small gain, even though I was trying to anticipate for a slightly bigger one, but it got screwed over due to these wicks? Why not just take the profit and then wait for the reaction? And if it has the bearish reaction, I could re-enter those puts, right? And that's exactly what I did. But I did not re-enter the puts because there was no bearish reaction. This is how you identify a flip. You see the wicks are at the previous closing price, it sells off. Wicks are at support, it's going to try to pump back up. Look at this. A breakout, right? Just because it breaks above doesn't mean it's bullish. This is how you know when it's bullish. It's breaking above. We know that 391 pre-market support is big upside as well. And we know it's forming higher support right here and it's pushing above previous closing price, which is technically bullish. But in terms of strong bullish confirmations, it's right here. When the bottom wicks are now, when the bottom of this wick is now literally the bottom of this wick is the previous resistance level. That's a flip. This is a flip. This is a flip. This is a flip. Boom. If you're still holding puts and being ignorant and arrogant, you have to exit right there. You cannot hold further. That's how you identify a micro flip. And you do this at the previous closing price. But it's more advanced. There is times when you should not be trading at the previous closing price. There is times where it makes sense to hold at the previous closing price. There's times where you should be scalping at the previous closing price, right? So if you're not as more advanced, you do kind of just have to get in and get out. You're not going to know when to hold. If you don't have the education on when to hold for a bigger win, then you're kind of just forced to not hold, period, right? But even if you do have the education on when to understand when it makes sense due to the rarity of the setup, due to the level, due to the reaction, when it makes sense to hold for a bigger win, if you do have that education, you then have to have the conscientiousness to identify preparation beforehand and in the moment when you're trading, when to have that different approach, when to have that different style, which can be very hard to do, to trade two different styles at once, because each style has a different set of rules, has a different set of patterns, strategies, setups, things to look for, right? And that can complicate things and that can mess up a trading challenge because there's different rules and stuff like that, right? You're going to be doing things slightly differently. And in terms of trading options, especially trading them, day trading them, every options in general, everything counts. Every little microscopic move counts. Every little tiny move counts. The entry is so important. The timing is so important. The contracts you select are so important. Everything counts. So you have to really understand yourself and how you trade and the strategy you're using and the right contracts to use with that strategy. For me, it's at the money contracts with the closest expiration. The reason why I go with the closest expiration is because my timing tends to be perfect, right? Now, if I am looking to hold a little bit longer, it's going to be hard to hold a same day expiration. It truly is, especially not being down at first. It's going to be hard to just kind of hold that out. Because you can time it perfectly for the micro, but then it could just flip like that, and then you're not going to want to hold it because you just went green to red. That's the reason why. So in terms of situations like that, it is smart to go with a contract that does not expire the same day and expires like 1 or 2 days later. So you have to understand the different styles, but you don't want to make it too advanced, especially if you're a beginner, right? So all this is taught within Trader Society. Like I said, the small account is now up 11.52%. This is the third green day in a row. Started on Monday with $3,941. It's about to surpass 4,000. It started at $3,941. It's about to surpass $4,400. If you want to learn more about the approach to the small account strategy, it is all explained. A lot of it is explained towards the end of my video. If you go back to the previous video, towards the end, the last 15 minutes, it kind of goes over why I started the challenge, the rules to the challenge, the style of the challenge, if you think it's going to be for you and stuff like that. But, in a nutshell, it's going to be scalping like a sniper. The timing is expected to be perfect. You get in, you get out within minutes, make a quick 10, 20% return. Sometimes the wins will be bigger, 20 to 50% plus gainers. The position sizing is going to be 10 to 20%. So if you size in 20% of your account and you make a 10% return on the option contract, which can be done within minutes, that is a 2% return on your portfolio. The daily goal is a 2% return. And the key is to compound the account. Do not take money out, compound the account, pull out a compound interest calculator. Study the difference between a 1% return and a 2% return. Massive difference. The goal is 2%. Some days it'll be lower, some days it'll be higher. The goal is to average 2%. Right now, 3 green days in a row, basically at 12%. So I've already exceeded the daily goal. I've already well exceeded the daily goal. That's an average of a 4% return almost daily. So with that being said, if you want to scalp like a sniper, and there is expected to be 1 to 2 scalps per week where I am going to hold for the bigger win. Those trades are more designed for holding, not just get out, hold a little bit longer, make a bigger move. I mean, this was one of the potential ones where you could have held and made a really nice return from 395.6, from 396 where I lured that all the way down to 392. That was a crazy play. And there was a nice scalping opportunity right here where this previous support with big upside turned into previous support with resistance, that same doji confirmation, right? So guys, that education is going to help you out so much with scalping. If you want to take it to the next level, get more advanced, participate in the challenge for a limited time, get access to the Discord server for a lifetime, get access to the live trading streams that I do every single day at Market Open. Once I'm not sick, I'm going to be right back to the live streams. I'm also going to be adding, once I'm not sick, the voice channel. I'm going to be actively on the voice channel, calling out these scalps in real time. A real-time alert does not exist. The person has to type out the alert. A real-time stream does not exist. There's a slight delay, 10, 20, 30 seconds, 1 minute delay, depending on where you are and how your connection is on a live stream. But what is real-time is if we were on the phone together, and that's what a voice channel is. If someone's on a Discord voice channel, it's 100% real-time. It's like talking to someone over the phone, and that will be done within the small account challenge very, very soon once I'm 100%, right? So with that being said, if you want to join and participate in the challenge and get lifetime instant access to everything included within Trader Society, all the information is explained on the first link down below in the description. You can get started as soon as tonight. You can start studying, and then you can trade live with us at Market Open. I'm telling you guys, we've got great analysis. We've got great analysis in the chat room. We had people playing calls on that big move up right here. We had people buying calls because they identified it bounced off of 391 pre-market lows, and they identified that the previous closing price on the SPY was reacting bullish. It was reacting bullish right here. It was reacting bullish right here. It was breaking out, forming the bullish wicks, the previous highs at the previous closing price, which is bullish, right? All bullish confirmations for this to be a continued pump at 391 like it's in the pre-markets, right? We have people playing calls on that. I'm telling you, man, we got some great traders in here, and we got phenomenal analysis, and the timing is to perfection. So if you do want to be a part of us, you can literally make back the cost of the program in a couple of trades. I mean, if you have a decent size account in like one trade, like this is going to benefit you so much in the long term. And if you trade my approach, a more conservative way to trading options, you're going to learn so much more in the process, and you're not going to blow up the account. It's very sustainable, and you're going to learn so much from mistakes being made, so much in the process without losing a lot, and making very nice lucrative returns as the week goes by, as the month goes by. You compound the account. I'm telling you, pull out a compound interest calculator, 2% daily, compound it, you'll see. And right now I'm at 4% daily. Not that I need or want to be. So with that being said, that's the first link down below in the description. In terms of other plays that I'm seeing, it's mainly just MAR and Roblox. For those of you who stay at the end of these videos, you truly do get rewarded with the best information. So on Roblox, Excuse me, MARA, this looks bearish. We almost filled the gap right here. It's got a bearish candlestick. So for MARA, what I want you to understand is in terms of tomorrow, if it cracks this $12 level, it's going to have a nice pullback to about 1140, 1130. So if it cracks this 1211, or if you see it rip back up to the previous closing price of 1290 and that reacts as a resistance, play puts. That's the best trade idea for MARA. It's due for a pullback. It looks kind of micro bearish. And then Roblox looks good. Roblox looks good for a nice put scalp here. It's got the wick. It filled the gap. It's got the wick. Now, this is what needs to happen to consider to enter a put scalp. It needs to go under $40.30. If it goes under 40.30 and that reacts as a resistance, scalp a put. It then needs to crack 39.85. If it cracks that, secure the profits at 38.90 from 39.85. So what I'm telling you is if you see this go below 40.20 and it reacts as a resistance level, scalp a put. Next level is 39.85. If that cracks and reacts as a resistance level, key level to take profits is at like 39.20, right around $39, 39.20, right? So pay attention to Roblox. It's due for a small little micro pullback. If it breaks above this, then it goes bullish. If it breaks above this $41, then it goes bullish. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis. Tomorrow should be a great trading day especially in terms of the SPY. So in terms of the SPY, that's my analysis. I shared with you how to determine it both ways. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this and learned a lot. I'm telling you, information shared within this, very simple stuff on how to identify trend direction, especially with candlesticks. So, and how to identify great trading opportunities with overreactions. With that being said, I'm going to be signing off. If you want to join Trader Side, it's going to be the first link down below in the description. I'm looking forward to working with you guys, and I will see you tomorrow at Market Open.